Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a tier list ranking the best centers in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM right now. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 25,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day. Tons of consistent daily MyTEAM content. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. I guess try to hit that by the end of, I don't know, April-ish. We'll see. That is the idea anyway. Would be really, really cool if we could do that. So would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. Let's take a look. Starting at David Robinson. David Robinson obviously is S tier. He's one of the best bigs in the game. He and several of these other cards who are gambling only cards. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of the way that the gambling only concept has been working, but I will admit he's a very good card. One of the best bigs in the game without a shadow of a doubt. He's one of the most versatile bigs in the game as well. Very complete stat and badge wise. Very solid release. Good shot creation ability. Just does everything that you want a big to do at a high level, and that provides a lot of value for the card. So in my mind, I think D-Rob is about as good as it gets. He's probably the best big in the game that's not 100 overall. So that is where he goes. 100% S tier. I think Dwight Howard is mid. Honestly, is he mid C tier or like? Yeah, he's probably C tier. Honestly, defensively he's great. But he's only like 6'10" at the center position, so he's not huge. Size-wise, kind of lacking, I will admit. And then I also think he's just, I don't know, he's not that good all the way around. His release is mediocre. He's fast and he's a great dunker, but again, undersized with mediocre shooting ability at best is just not generally going to cut it in my mind. So I don't think Dwight is bad, but at the same time, C tier is pretty fair. Giannis is I'm putting Giannis A. I'm not putting him S. I think that's a surprising pick to people, especially at the center spot. I don't think I would have him in my top 5, though, at the center position. I think as good as he is, his release is not exceptional, and that's really about the only thing I can really complain about. I think he's very good, but I don't know. He's a very good card, and I think most people probably put him S tier, but to me, I think I got 5 guys I'd put over him, in my opinion, mainly because of the release. That's probably the main critique I have. He's a good card, though. I think Greg Oden is kind of a better version of Dwight Howard. He's a little slower, not quite as versatile defensively. Well, is he a better version, or is he about the same? He's bigger, yes, but is he better? I don't know. Overall, I would say, I don't know. I think he's probably C as well. I don't think he's anything special whatsoever. C tier seems pretty fair at this point. He was good for his time. Good interior big. Looks bigger than 7 foot, but C is probably fair as well. Hakeem. I got a comment on my Power 4 tier list a couple days ago about somebody who was really surprised to put Hakeem as low on this tier list as I did. At the same time, I'm doing it again. I think C tier is a very fair spot for him. Maybe B, arguably. But to me, I think C is probably the best spot for him. Like, maybe he's back a B, but I understand he's got decent all-around stats, but he's not an extraordinary slasher. He's good defensively, but he's not a playmaker at all, and his release isn't great. He's not an exceptional shooter at all. Good card, just not an exceptional shooter and not a great playmaker. I mean, he's fine, but he's nothing special at the center position at this point. Sigma's main value is that he has an elite release, and he is a very good interior player on both ends of the court as well, but he's got an awesome release. That is the #1 value of that card. If he could get every badge upgraded, he might even be arguably A. His release is one of the very best in the list, and that by itself puts him in the B tier, even though the rest of the card I don't think is all that extraordinary. He is a good interior player as well, so, but he doesn't have great size. He's only like 6'11". Obviously, Kareem is S. Kareem is a 100 overall. Obviously, don't really need to waste time talking about him. He's a great card, but he basically doesn't exist. Obviously, he's S tier, but the card doesn't really exist. Karl-Anthony Towns. Is he S tier to me? The answer is no. I think he's not in the top 5. He is in the top 10, without a doubt. A tier card. Capable release. Releases on quick. I still think it's kind of hitchy even on quick, but he puts the ball on the floor very well for a big. He's incredibly complete stat and badge wise. Elite level shooter, of course. He just won, or I think he came second in the 3-point contest and had a great all-star game and all that type of stuff. So that's why he got that card. But he's an extraordinary shooter, and overall he's a really, really good card. I just think defensively he's not quite as strong as a couple of the other top bigs. I really like the card, but I wouldn't quite crack him. I don't think he quite cracks my top 5. KP cracks my top 5 mainly because he's a 7'3" absolute sharp. I understand he doesn't have the speed or the versatility as a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns or Giannis, but I think he's better than both at the center position because of his size, his versatility, and his shot-making ability from deep. Obviously, Cat's an exceptional shooter as well, but I like KP's release better, and the 7'3" player build, that frame is just something that I cannot undervalue. He is a great card, and he is definitely an S tier option at the center spot. One of the best cards in the game, despite only being a pink diamond. Marcin Gortat. I think he also goes C. He is glitched, and because he's glitched, he's not D, because he can actually shoot the ball pretty well, but I will say his release is not exceptional. He doesn't have elite size. He's not super fast. He's not a great playmaker. At best, I think he's C tier. Marcus Camby, good budget big, not a great release, but everything else about him is really good. He's fast. He's versatile. He's a great dunker. He's a really good defender, and he's A very, very good all-around card. I just think his release isn't great, and that's the main thing that holds him back. That's why he goes B tier as well. Mo Bamba, he's got a better release than all the guys in C tier, and he's got a better player build than all the guys in C tier. Has Hoff Anchor, Rise Up, that type of stuff. I mean, he does what I need out of a budget big at a very high level. Is a great pick and pop stretch big, a versatile defender, and a good standing dunker with a long wingspan and good height. I understand the guys in C tier in a lot of ways have better stats than him, especially like the strength rating and some of the interior stuff, maybe. But overall, I think he's a better card. I think B tier is totally fair. Miles Turner does crack S tier to me. I think he's the 5th best. I think he's really good. I think he's a better version of a Karl-Anthony Towns, basically. Better version. Like, he and Giannis are different cards, but he's just a much better shooter. I like his release more than Cat's release. I think defensively he's super versatile and super good. Yeah, he's a really good card. Miles Turner's one of the best bigs in the game, without a doubt. That's an S tier card. Jokic is really good, too. Obviously, gambling only as well. I am not extraordinarily high on Jokic, but I do think I can 100% recognize that he is a very, very good card. I think he does a lot of things very well at the center spot. Obviously, a great playmaker. Maybe not the best defender, but really, really good card. Really complete stats and badges. Very, very good option. Patrick Ewing. He's got to go C, man. He's just not it at this point. Like, Ewing was good for his time, but his release is too slow. He's got good speed, and he's a good defender. Like, he's not a horrible card, but he's not a great card either. He's not a great shooting threat by any means, especially I'd say is the main thing that kind of holds it back because of the release not being great. So we're going to put him C tier with guys like Hakeem, Odin, and Dwight, who I think he's on a very similar level to. Roy Hibbert, 7-2. That is his best value, but honestly, I don't think he's any better than Ewing. I mean, in fact, I would probably take Ewing over. Well, Ewing and Hibbert is an interesting debate. Hibbert's slower, but he is bigger. I will say his release also isn't very good, but he does get every badge, which is a plus. At the same time, I would take everybody in B tier over Hibbert at this point. He's borderline, maybe. I don't know. I don't love the card. What Ibaka is going for him is versatility. He is a great shooter. He has a really nice release. He gives you more shooting ability than all the guys in C tier, in my opinion, pretty much, with a better release than all of them. But he's also a versatile defender and a great dunker with pretty decent speed. This card gets slept on, especially because he's only like 6'10", but I think he fits better at center than power forward, and I actually think he's a pretty good card. I think B tier is pretty fair. That's a card that gets overlooked, but should not. Shaq is extraordinary, obviously, 100 overall, great card. I will say his release is pretty bad, like really, really bad, even for 100 over, like even as 100 overall. He has a bad release. There's no doubt about it. But that does not take away from the fact that he's still a very good card. As a whole, I think he definitely still deserves his S tier spot. Obviously, the card basically doesn't exist, though, so we can pretty much pretend he doesn't exist most of the time. Tyson is A, 100%. Really great card. I really like Tyson. Does a ton of things really, really well on the court. He is an awesome defender. His release is very nice. He's one of the best, most versatile defensive cards and rebounders in the game. He's an incredible interior defender, or offensive player as well. Incredible finisher, great dunker, all that type of stuff. He's just a man. That's how I describe Tyson Chandler. He's a monster. He's one of the better cards one of the better free cards in the game, period. Easily A tier. Wemby is also A tier at this point. I don't think Wemby's S anymore, but I think he is somewhere higher in the A tier. His 7'4" player build is the main value. Again, kind of like him and KP, both of them incredibly big. He doesn't have the shooting ability that KP does, which is why I have KP a few spots higher. But I do think Wemby's a really good center still. I think he's very usable even at the highest level. Top tier competitive big still. He's an A tier guy in my opinion. Vlade Divac, 60 some odd speed. He is a good shooter. I will admit he's got a pretty good release, but he is 60 something speed and he is missing a ton of badges. That card is bad. That card is D tier. Wang Zizi, he is also, well, I mean, he's really good. He's the best card in B tier. In fact, no, he's A tier. I'm putting him A tier and I don't care. Wang deserves an A tier spot. Back of A. His release and his shooting ability is unbelievably good, and he is 7'1" as well, so he's got very solid size. I understand he's not the most extraordinary defender, nor is he an exceptional playmaker or anything for a center, but elite level shooting big with a great release, great size. That's an elite card still. I think he's very, very good. I think A tier is totally fair. And then Yao is obviously D, 25 speed, 25 three ball. He's the worst card in this list. He is absolutely horrible. I hope nobody ever locked in for him. I am going to put Gortat, by the way, in the D tier as well, just because I think that's the fairest spot for him. Want to even out the list just a little bit as well, and I think he's the worst of the guys in C. So that is going to do it for this tier list. I know it's not perfectly even, but I think it's pretty good. I don't want to move anybody from A down because I think these guys are noticeably better than the guys in B tier. But overall, this is an interesting list. I will say, I don't love the fact that the center position feels very split right now. Like, if you're not using guys who are in A tier and up, I think you're kind of putting yourself at a disadvantage right now. You got kind of a pretty distinct top tier or two, and then everybody else seems like they're a level or two below. Would be nice to see some more filler options in between so that it's not, I mean, basically out of top tier bigs that aren't gambling only, it's pretty much KP, Wemby, Tyson Chandler, Wang. Like, those are your four options on non-gambling only bigs. I guess Anthony Davis, I didn't put him on here, but he'd be a good option, I guess. Jaren, you could theoretically use at center as well. But I don't have those guys on there, but they're good options. But either way, would be nice to see a little bit more flexibility in terms of guys to use outside of gambling only options, but I mean, that's more so true for center than it is for any other position. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very